Welcome, No DQ Galaxy, to a special video, Virtue's Rage, and hopefully going forward, this is going to be a regular thing. Look, I'm so nervous, I'm choked up. I want to introduce this panel this evening, so I'm going to start with the boss. How are you doing, Aaron Riff? That's my best Drew Gulak.
I am doing absolutely wonderful. I'm very excited to be here today. I'm happy to have some great company. Of course, you, Virtue, with your awesome t-shirt, Virtue's Rage, turning NoDQ.com upside down. And we got some other great guests here as well, so go ahead and introduce them.
So I'm going to introduce next Jexy. Everybody remembers Jexy. Jexy, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Pretty good. We got some nice topics to cover. So I'm excited. Hopefully you are too.
Definitely.
And last but not least, Big Vito LaGrasso. How you doing?
I'm doing great. The Pavarotti of hard shots to the body is live, baby, live. We're here to celebrate the Virtue No DQ new podcast team, and we're ready to rock and roll. So why don't you guys take it from the top, and let's have a great show.
All right. So, I was coming up with a bunch of topics, and I had to dwindle it down because we only have so much time to talk about stuff this week, but we'll be back. So I want to kick it off with this. This is something that's really been bothering me. And I want to talk about Absolution and the Riott Squad. Riott with 2 T's. Now, we've known rumors with a potential female Royal Rumble on the horizon. Aaron, are they going to be doing it possibly as soon as this year or next year?
I have no idea. I've heard conflicting reports about it. I don't know.
So, yeah, we don't know, but all of a sudden now all these female wrestlers are coming in droves. Now, let's look at Absolution first. Paige. Paige coming back to me is a big deal. She's been off TV for a year. She's had all the issues. So to me, her coming back, I get it. That's great TV. Raw needed that. But when you have a bunch of women already on the roster and you kind of don't know what you're doing with them and you release Emma, now you bring in a group called Absolution, and this is where I needed my notes. Obviously, we all know Paige. Mandy Rose from NXT and Sonya Deville.
Yes.
They also did a very similar group on SmackDown the same week, the Riott Squad. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. And here's what baffles me. You have women, females already on your roster, and you're bringing these new groups in. What does this all mean? And you release Emma. Jexy, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts? Like, I just think it's too much by doing both groups, one on each show. Maybe if they would have just stuck with Paige and her little group initially, I wouldn't be this way. But I just feel like raging about this. Jexy, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I'm a little bit confused as to why they made 2 groups, especially so similar to each other, as far as looks and even character-wise. Mandy and Sonya, I think as far as I remember, came up together through Tough Enough, even with Paige mentoring them. So that makes sense to me. Paige is so strong, not only on the mic, but in the ring. And then the other group, Sarah Logan, to me, will be a breakout star. I think she's fantastic. I'm not so quite sold yet on Liv or Ruby, but I think it could potentially, what I would like to see is lead into maybe female tag team championships. Ooh. You have solid female stables that, you could build up that kind of take everybody by storm in a way. I like what they're doing with Absolution with Asuka. Hopefully that can lead to Asuka and Paige going forward. It's a little bit confusing, but I'm interested and very curious to see where it's going to go.
See, before I pass it on, we'll go with Aaron next. Like I'm seeing Paige and Ruby Riott. I'm gonna go, like more of a goth chick. Okay, Mandy and Liv, the blondes, and then your tough girls, Sonya and Sarah. Why so similar? I mean, is it like Aaron?
Great question. I mean, I think we're all wondering that. I was hoping maybe they would have had Paige be revealed as the leader of both groups and kind of have an interpromotional takeover, make them like the female version of the NWO or something like that, and have a super group rather than 2 separate groups where they're essentially the same thing. So yeah, I agree with everything Jexy said. I think it would have been better if they had done something different with the second girls instead of doing basically a copycat on SmackDown with what they're doing on Raw. So I pretty much agree with Jexy and everyone on the internet with their opinions on the group. And I think it's maybe just a little bit too much. I think it's better to introduce the women slowly over time, maybe 1 or 2 or even 3, but then stop at that and let the fans watching have time to start getting invested in those characters before you introduce more characters. It reminds me of a show like The Walking Dead, where they have so many characters now on that show that it's hard to really get invested in characters because there's just so many of them. So I feel when you're bringing in too many people at once, it becomes overkill. So that's my big issue with it. What do you think, Virtue?
Well, I think the copycat thing hurts the Riott Squad more, because Paige, Mandy, and Sonya came out first on Raw, and plus Paige is a big household name. So I think the fact that they didn't make them feel unique versus the Absolution group, the Riott Squad, is, to me, that's where it really hurts. Vito, am I wrong with that? I mean, you have the expertise more than we do on this.
I'm going to give you try to give you a better insight, like, on what we've been watching. Okay, now on Raw, the girls have run through each other and wrestled each other numerous amount of times with no many getting any steam except Alexa Bliss. Okay, they started Nia Jax and then they stopped her. They started
Sasha.
They started the Boss. They started Bailey. They started Mickie James. Everybody went through the line, right? Then they bring Asuka in. Now, Asuka, they messed up her entrance and messed up her how would you say, her credibility by going toe-to-toe with Emma on her first night instead of doing reversal of her, demolishing the crew or demolishing some people to get her credibility up and then put her in programs with the girls, okay? They got rid of Emma because Emma stayed good. Now, since they don't have any more storylines for anybody, Paige is the next big star. Paige comes in with 2 new girls. Now, this brings a new flavor, and it interacts everybody on the roster to get with Paige and the 2 girls. They're teasing Asuka. They haven't brought Nia Jax to the mix yet. They really haven't interacted with a lot of girls yet. They beat Alicia Fox, and Alicia Fox put up a good fight, but then, okay, what they did to Dana Brooke was horrible, because I thought Dana Brooke was coming strong. Right.
Well, hey, Vito, they've had Asuka finally. I mean, she basically squashed Alicia Fox more or less too recently. So now they're doing that with Asuka. Oh, it's funny. They wouldn't do it before. Now they're making Asuka look like a monster.
Now, same thing on SmackDown, guys. SmackDown, they have gone through every kind of different combination on SmackDown with the women. Okay. Now, the 3 girls they put on SmackDown, these girls look like young girls. And they're fighting women. When you look at them to Charlotte Flair, Tamina, right, a Becky Lynch, you see the caliber and the difference in the size, the strength, and the ring ability. Now, they finally gave Tamina a shot at the title. They've been looking to give Tamina a little push. That was her tryout match. And as you saw on SmackDown, she was not ready. With Tamina, less is more. Super kick, heel stuff, bodyguard. That's it. For her to do a match, she was lost. She did not do good. She had offense, but it wasn't smooth. It wasn't believable. She worked with the champ. The champ is supposed to make you look like $1 million. The 3 new girls in there, guys, these 3 girls, in my opinion, are not ready for TV. They're not believable. They look like 3 young ladies who should still be developing their craft in NXT. That's not a knock on for what they've accomplished. That's not a knock for the position and opportunity they're given. It's just that when you see them fighting and you see their stuff, they're not believable. So that's why you see the influx of the women, because they went through the roster already. Now, like you said, is there going to be a battle royal? Is there going to be a tag team?
I just feel the first female Royal Rumble's got to be on the horizon, because it's just 6 females on the main roster. Well, not Paige return, but like that.
Prize? What is the prize of a battle royal? Because you still have a Money in the Bank winner holding the Money in the Bank. You have 2 separate championships. So if you get a Royal Rumble winner, what is she going to win? The Fabulous Moolah statue, like they did the Andre Giant Memorial? Yeah. That's a possibility. Go ahead, guys.
Well, I just think that it's done so fast sometimes that I don't even know if they think what they're doing as they're doing it. And then in this case, I was okay on Monday night when I saw Paige return with her group. Then the next night on SmackDown, it just threw me for a loop. So what's everyone's thoughts? Leave them in the comments. I'm going to segue from females to cruiserweights because that's what you do. Now, recently, Aaron, we heard that the 205 crew is going to start house shows, and I believe this is in January. Okay, so if my memory serves me correctly, SmackDown attendance has been hurting the last several months. House show attendance, they're tarping off. What makes them think the 205 guys are going to draw? Now, with that said, I absolutely, everybody knows I'm a big Enzo guy. I like Enzo. Drew Gulak is growing because of working with Enzo, because he's different. He's like the polar opposite of Enzo. So there are guys that I'm drawn to, but to me, it's television. I don't know if I would want to see these guys at a house show because I want to see them talk. So with that said, Aaron, what do you think with this 205 Live house show stuff? To me, the most entertaining part of the cruiserweights is like Enzo and Gulak cutting promos.
I agree on that. Well, I think that the idea is to test the waters and see how much of a draw it really is. And they're running these really small buildings. They're running the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. And
what do those hold? Like 3,000-4,000 at the most?
Not even.
That's it.
Not even. Okay.
Yeah, Mid-Hudson Civic Center. They used to run Raw back in the early days of Monday Night Raw.
I remember that.
And they used to run TV there back in the early 80s. So it's a really small building. And I guess the idea is to see how well they draw in the smaller buildings before branching out into the larger arenas. I think it's worth a shot to try to see if it works. But, of course, there's a lot of doubt about how far 205 Live can go as a brand, since apparently, a week or so ago, WWE sent out a survey asking people why they're not watching 205 Live. And now all of a sudden they're doing the live shows, which is really interesting.
I had my idea over a year ago. If they wanted a third brand, which, they got to be able to do two, first of all, let alone have a third one. I always said they should have made NXT its own brand. And I guess it kind of is, but they still treat it as the minor leagues. So to me, why make this 205 Live a brand when you have NXT, which is, I think, more established? Jexy, what are your thoughts on this? On the potential, will they pack 3,000, 2,000 seat venues with this stuff?
Initially, probably not, but I think, like Aaron said, they're testing the waters a little bit. I personally have always enjoyed going to house shows. I think the talent kind of gets to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more free in the ring. They don't talk as much, no, but I think through the actual ring work, it's always been a little bit more entertaining to me. And it's hard because, like you said, NXT stands by itself, 205 stands by itself. If they maybe mix them together, I think would probably be a little bit better, but I don't expect them to fully pack the shows. No.
Get some Pete Dunne in there.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love it so much.
All right, Vito, I know you're itching on this one. NXT's tour, when they tour, they seem like they do well. Aaron, how big of arenas did they get, NXT? Was it similar or even smaller?
Well, NXT
and you went, right?
I went to the show. Yeah,
was it packed?
Well, what they did was they basically cut off the arena into like a small theater section. They just sectioned it off, and it was they drew about, the first time I went in 2016, they drew about, I want to say 3,000 to 4,000 people. The second time, it was quite a bit less. It was maybe closer to 2,000 people. So I don't know if that has to do with the guys in 2016 were just more of a draw compared to the guys in 2017, or maybe just people were getting tired of NXT. The novelty is wearing out. I'm not really sure. But Vito, what are your thoughts on 205 Live and them doing the live shows?
I think because 205 Live is on TV, the biggest seller in there is Enzo, right? Yes. Okay, he's the magnet. Now,
Gulak, I don't know what it is about him, but I'd pay a ticket to go see him. So,
he's got one fan.
Enzo. One official fan. Yeah.
I get you. But you know what it is, guys? If you have 205 Live, it's a different brand of wrestling. When you watch the wrestling, you see it's very choreographed. They always say wrestling is choreographed. Wrestling to me is hard-hitting. You get to see it. It's snug. It's stiff. These guys are doing the flip, 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 and everything is acrobatic. Now, being that said, with the way indie wrestling is today and what they do in Japan and what they do on the indies, the flip is in. That's what the trend is going to. So now they're going to have a cult following like ECW. They're going to have their flip crowd. It might not pack the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. I've wrestled there. It's a nice arena. When it's packed, 3,000 could be 10,000. If they get 1,000 people, I think they'll be happy. Okay? That's good but you got to remember, they're going to see an independent wrestling show. Not to say that the guys on 205 Live are not professional, but it's more of an indie crowd. Now, with NXT getting its own time slot on Wednesdays, I think because now they're going to have TV time, they are going to branch off into doing regular house shows. So now you have 4 different brands going for the WWE, if you guys look at it that way. That's not putting the girls out there and saying, okay, let's have an old girl show. Yeah. But if you have NXT, you have 205 Live, Raw, and SmackDown. Of course, Raw is going to draw more. SmackDown a smaller scale. If they went to smaller buildings, they would sell out the buildings. That's my view on it. Yeah. But if you really, really want to get to the gist of things, right, if they do this and it is successful, that means there's 4 different companies, 4 different branches for people to go in. And my biggest peeve is they don't revolve the talent and don't circulate the talent back to NXT. Like a Samoa Joe say, okay, you're going to go back to NXT for a little bit. They don't send a Kevin Owens or a Sami Zayn back to NXT, because if you rotate the talent, you will get the houses to be up. And if they do have an NXT brand, that 2,000 seat arena is going to sell out like this because Kevin Owens is on it, right?
I'm really interested in if Neville's going to come back. So does anybody think WWE and him will make amends?
Well, I don't know.
And feature him.
But Virtue, I just wanted to say that sometimes in the past we would see Cesaro on the NXT special, so I wouldn't rule that out that they might possibly at some point to boost up the house show numbers. Like Vito said, maybe they could have Samoa Joe come back to NXT for a big match with one of the rising NXT stars. So they've done it before. I could see them possibly doing it again. But as far as Neville goes, I mean, last I heard, they were talking and he was possibly going to be coming back, but nothing's happened up to this point. Maybe he'll show up in the Royal Rumble as a surprise. I don't know at this point.
Vito, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think of these guys that basically they have their spot? And we've talked about this, but I want to get this on Virtue's Rage. Neville, like, it's a job, but he's not happy, so he's gone. Like, what is it? Like, is he entitled? Does he think he's entitled? Did he think he was better than working with Enzo? Like, paint the picture of why Neville isn't on TV right now. I think it's his fault.
Guys,
for not working.
It's a creation of how the business has turned and a different era, okay? Now, back in the day, you went to work, you wrestled, you did your job, you went home. You didn't say I wanted to be fired because, like, there was no place else to go. And if you went back to the indies, that was the bottom feeding. Some myth tells you you're going to make money on the indies. It's not a steady paycheck. And if you want to be a big fish in a small pond, that's wonderful. Stay on the indies. If you want to come up and play with the big boys, got to pull your big boy pants on and make your way like everybody else. These guys have been giving a line like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Neville. Who's the other guy who just left the cruiserweight with the attitude? What's Austin Aries.
Yeah, like before you finish, Vito, do these guys, like, who do you think's the leader of this movement? Like,
it's not a leader.
You don't think so?
It's the concept, and it's a threat to the company. Well, if you're not going to treat me like this, I'm going to go elsewhere.
You don't think it's the CM Punk? I wasn't happy, so I'm going. I mean, I know he's not in wrestling now, but he did a lot of other things.
How many years ago was it? 2, 3?
Yeah, but I mean, he's tried UFC. He's doing his comic books. Obviously, he made a lot of money being in the top dog. But, like, do you think these guys look at him like, we don't need WWE? And granted, these wrestlers need to wrestle. Punk didn't need to wrestle. But you don't think he's the leader of that?
One guy 2 years ago. This is the year that everybody says, well, it's just how the attitude has changed backstage. And from Vince McMahon letting this happen, because now you have a Triple H in charge, and he might have a different view on how to handle things. Stephanie might handle things different. somebody else might handle things different. Before there was one boss and one boss only was Vince McMahon. What I say goes and what goes stays. So now you have to listen to me or take your bag, go home, and we can get the next guy in. One boss, one show, one way. That's why he has been the #1 company throughout all these years. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the pedigree and the different understanding of the business with the flips and the different size of the wrestlers, and you see the difference in the wrestlers. What do they look like to you guys? They look like a bunch of young boys. They don't look like men wrestlers. They don't look like that hard, big body like a Rusev.
I mean, to be blunt, it looks like an indie show when you watch guys like that, Russell, which I like. I mean, I'm an indie fan. I like
you're an indie fan, but if you want to see wrestlers and you want to see big guys go, okay, the Bludgeon Squad, right? The Bludgeon guys on SmackDown.
Yeah. And we'll be talking about them. I know you'll be talking about them on our last topic, so hold your thought on the Bludgeon Brothers.
But I'm going to say, like, guys like Big Show, Mark Henry was sitting on the side. Why couldn't you bring them up? Now, legit, those guys shouldn't be beating a fight, and those guys shouldn't be beating the ring. Kane against Finn Balor, is that realistic, fellas? Braun Strowman demolishing everybody? Yes.
Yeah.
Believable.
And I like where you're going with this, Vito, because here's my segue. We're talking of thousands in attendance to millions in attendance. We're talking cruiserweight-looking guys to a larger-than-life superhero. I want to talk about The Rock. So it sounds like he's getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which he should. He's the biggest action hero in Hollywood.
It sounds he is.
Yeah. Well, until it's there and Jeff Meacham walks past it and takes
a picture. Jeff will be there. Okay. Jeff will be, Rock,
okay, so yes, he is. And right now, from the professional wrestling business, who's on that? Vince McMahon. Anybody else?
No, just Vince. Is
The Rock going to be the second guy from the wrestling business, even though he basically did it as a movie star?
Right.
So with that said, what are your thoughts? Jexy, were you ever a big Rock fan? Now, I guess, is it too early for him to be on there? And then what are your thoughts on who's the next Rock? Who can come out of the wrestling business? And I know who everybody should say, but I want each person to say, who should be the next Rock that can do that and maybe get to that point? Jexy.
Well, as one of the millions and millions of The Rock's fans.
It's Dwayne Johnson now, but yeah.
I think it's amazing. I think he deserves it. I don't think it's too early. I mean, and realistically, he's been doing it for 15, 16 years probably at this point. From the whole Fast and the Furious franchise to, having his Ballers show on HBO.
Tooth Fairy?
Yeah. I love the chemistry between him and Kevin Hart. Everything that they do together, I think, is amazing. I think he deserves it. And who's going to be the next one?
Yes, in your opinion.
Probably John Cena.
And that's what I was expecting. It just seemed like we were talking about Scorpion King, and now Rock is the face of the franchise for the Fast and the Furious. I mean, it's unbelievable. Mr. Rift.
Well, I'm really happy about it. I think he definitely deserves it. I feel it's the right time. And as far as who's going to replace or be the next person, you could say John Cena, but I don't think he's anywhere near The Rock's stratosphere as far as being a movie star goes.
Interesting. Wow.
I don't think anybody on the horizon from wrestling is going to get a star on the Walk of Fame. The Rock is 1 in a million as far as I'm
think about it. There's only two: the owner of the company, a billionaire, and then The Rock, who made it huge in Hollywood. So there's only two. So Vito, Aaron, were you done?
Yeah, I think Cena's got a long way to go to even have a shot at that.
I'm interested here, Vito.
I think The Rock made it in wrestling. He took a step back and worked his ass off in the movie industry. He's made a lot of great movies. He's stuck with it. He really doesn't have any clunkers. He's been in the limelight as far as the movie scene for the past 10 years strong, let's say, okay? He's had a lot of good things happening and coming his way. Now, when you say who's the next guy, does The Rock deserve it? Put a star there. He earned it. Hey, good for you. You did your thing. The next guy who's up on the list, you guys are forgetting Dave Bautista's been doing movies.
Yep.
Good, but I can't believe I forgot about him.
He's had more success in Hollywood than Cena.
He was in a James Bond and Guardians
of the Galaxy. He's had way more success than Cena.
Now, guys, forgetting Cena just left wrestling. He's just starting by doing, okay, Saturday Night Live. He's doing the ESPYs. He's doing these things. He's starting to make his way. But Dave Bautista's been doing the movies for how many years now? At least 8?
Yeah.
I'd say 8 to 10.
Well, and the Guardians movies and the James Bond movie, I mean, that's big time.
So, I mean, maybe he's not on the level of The Rock, but he's a growing actor in the acting industry. And if you're going to proclaim somebody to get there next, how could you discredit this man's ability to be, a movie star? He is a movie star. He has movies. Is he at that level of The Rock and Sinatra and all those guys? Maybe he's a step lower. But as far as the next guy coming, John Cena's got another 10 years before he sees a star in Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a long ways to go. Batista realistically is the closest person before Cena is.
And in The Miz's a point of view, it would be The Miz, but I had to throw that out there. That would be in his character. In his character's point of view.
Wait, but we joke about The Miz, we say he's not there, okay? But The Miz has been doing movies for how many years now? He might not be on the Batista Rock level. Maybe he's on the B level, but he's been doing movies for how many years? And he doesn't get the recognition for being a movie star, but he's got movies in his back pocket.
He does.
So
that's a good point. That's a good point. I just thought it was something very interesting, and on my Virtues Rage videos that I was doing on Facebook, I'd always talk about what my movie of the week was, and I'm not really going to do that here. Maybe if you want to know what my movie and video game of the week, go to my Facebook or Twitter. But I wanted to use that as a topic because The Rock is a huge Hollywood movie star. So with that said, it's time for the main event here on Virtues Rage, and I'm going to go by delete. Look, this is where I don't mind being the biggest mark for Matt Hardy, because when I watched the Broken Hardys on TNA a year and a half ago, I saw people on social media, that very first video that Matt and Jeff did in their warehouse thing where they had the ring. It looked cheesy. People were like, wow, TNA's really, look at that production value. It's horrible. And a lot of people were dogging it. I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute here. I think there's something artsy going on here. I don't know what it is. And it all unfolded. Now, I know, Aaron, you weren't the biggest TNA follower. I watched everything with all the final deletions. I don't know if you did, Jexy. To me, it is creative freedom, character development at its finest. Matt and Jeff have done everything they could in the wrestling business. They had one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history in the TLC match, more than once. The ladder match at No Mercy 99. What else do you do in the business? You expand your character. Look, I'm all about character development. That's why I watch wrestling. I always like the villains. Why? Because they gave that extra little something to make people not like them. To me, Matt is an absolute genius. And when he gets to now be woken, it's not exactly what we want with Broken. But I love the spot on Raw with Bray. Bray has been in a horrible spot. They've booked him poorly. Sister Abigail thing fell through. Of course, the meningitis or the mumps, whatever it was, that didn't help. But I like this for both guys. Jeff being out, heal up. I think he had a surgery. Did he have a surgery, Aaron? Jeff?
Yeah, he did.
Heal up because let Matt and Bray, I don't know where this is going, let it develop. Let the WWE universe, who didn't see TNA, let them get exposed to it. And then when it's time and it's hot, Jeff's ready to come back. I don't know who to start with here. I don't want to stop talking about this. Let's go with you, Jexy. Let's go. What's your thoughts on woken Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Like you said, they're brilliant. Matt is an absolute genius with this character. It fits him so well. And it gives Jeff so much more development, too. Yes. Like, what they did with him in TNA, Brother Nero, was incredible. I would love to see Senor Benjamin come out, have Maxwell come out with them, have Rebby with the piano even. Just the whole, so rounded, the way that they did it. And to me, it can go so far, and doing it with Bray, the character that Bray has.
He needs this. I really think Matt was the perfect, Bray needs this so bad. Just because they haven't given him anything, and I think Matt will give him 200% of it.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better. I think it's the perfect thing for Bray, too. But I can't wait. I'm super, super excited to see Matt back in this role.
Yeah, and Aaron, it's not broken, it's woken, because Vince McMahon wants to be able to have the rights to sell, the shirts. But nonetheless, when Matt leaves WWE again and retires, he can go do the broken thing again on the Indies. So, Mr. Rift, you weren't big on this before. I mean, I know you got it and you understood it, but, I know you're not the biggest TNA soldier. What's your thoughts?
Okay, well, first of all, I was really into it.
Can I throw you under the bus? Sorry.
I'm not sure what you're trying to say here. I liked it. I mean, it was the one thing I liked about TNA in 2016 when they started doing it. It was the first time I actually had some interest in
my apologies. I
TNA.
just didn't know you liked it.
It was by far, you didn't really know me back then. I thought it was the best thing TNA had done literally in years, and it was the first time people were actually talking about TNA. I would go on Twitter and Facebook and read the comments from people, and there was actually some buzz about TNA for the first time in a very long time. No doubt Matt and Jeff, they had this renaissance with their careers. They went from being pretty much just a thing of the past, and all of a sudden they were the hot topic of wrestling again. And into 2017, they got their job back with WWE, and for a while it felt like they were going to fade away again and classify themselves as obsolete. But then Matt finally got this whole legal battle with Anthem settled, and now Matt is able to do his character, and who cares if it's broken or woken? The bottom line is he needs to be able to have the creative freedom to take that character into places that we've seen before, and not just that, but take it in new directions and do some new things and experiment and just see where it can go, see what the potential is. Jexy said it best, there's so many things they can do with this, and the sky's really the limit. They can go all over the place with this and do a lot of creative things, in my opinion. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Nice. Now, Vito, I saved you for last on this because you've worked with Vince McMahon. Is Vince going to allow this to work like it should?
Guys, you want to hear what I said last night and I shocked everybody?
Sure.
Okay. I was not a fan of TNA and I really didn't watch much. I saw a little bit here and there. My wife was a big fan of Matt Hardy and Deletion and and all this stuff. Okay, so when I seen them appear at the pay-per-view, and they came out and they did their thing and everybody was deleting. Hey, not bad. Everybody said nobody watched TNA, but here they are. Everybody's doing delete, whatever. Now, they finally, Bray Wyatt has been a lost soul for a year and a half since he lost that title too soon. He has been up, down, 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 up, down, up, down.
That's true. Now, and Vito, you know where it really happened for Bray? He had great momentum. A year and a half ago, he messed up his leg against Roman at a house show in Italy. That really, to me, the injury killed him. But
well, it could be, whatever the case, right? He got derailed somehow.
Yeah.
He still cuts the great promo. He had the run with Randy Orton. Then he had all this stuff, and then he's down again. Now, I'm going to tell you the greatest scheme of all. They finally have awoken Matt Hardy. They have Bray Wyatt, two of the most charismatic characters in WWE today. I see them collaborating, having a match, having a creative finish where both are standing, and both of them joining forces to form a stable.
I like it.
Now, when they join and have a stable, they ask, well, why can't you have one doing one and one doing other? Because they're not going to dedicate anything to Bray Wyatt. They're not going to dedicate anything to Matt Hardy. It takes too much TV time. But to form a new creative stable with these two, with the promos and the scary and the dungeon and the doom and that zombie era where we love, this is the perfect mix. And I think the both of them, when Jeff comes back possibly, to add the Bludgeon Brothers to have a good core, strong group, just like the Oddities when they didn't know what to do with 4 or 5 guys. Now you got a great thing here that could last 1 year, maybe 2 years. Now, if the direction is Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt putting their minds together, this could blow wrestling off the map, and you'll see main event stuff from these guys. But if they're going to do a one-off with these guys and send Matt Hardy to go have a little run and bury Bray Wyatt again, I think you'd blow the whole thing in the water. You heard it here first on this show. WWE Creative, you're welcome. I hope you use my idea, because putting them together is the way to go to make money and to keep people's interest. This week they lost from 1 hour to the third hour. They lost 750,000 viewers. If you have the Awoken and Bray Wyatt doing some kind of promo to a Prevail with a great entrance, I think you'll keep those 750,000 viewers.
Yeah, and that's a shame. That's really a shame that they could lose that many people. And it just goes to show, Aaron, we've talked about this for months and months and months. Raw needs to be a 2-hour show. Yeah. But what they're advertising in their contracts, that's why they get free.
Vito, I actually wanted to ask you, because I was pretty critical of the first 2 hours of Raw this week. I found it to be a bit boring, honestly. I was curious your opinion. Why do you think those numbers dropped? What did you think of those first 2 hours of Raw, and what did you think of the show overall?
And Jexy, after Vito, I want to know what you thought about Raw too.
I'm going to tell you why they lost the viewers. Because how many times have we seen Rollins and Sheamus and Cesaro, and in the main event, you didn't get nothing new. The only thing you can get out of this, and this is another great idea that hasn't been done, guys. Now, you have Reigns has the Intercontinental. You have Sheamus and Cesaro with the tag team titles. You involve Samoa Joe. We have the Shield, and we have these three. Why don't we go to pay-per-view and put titles on the line when it takes all?
Yep.
So this way, all three will win, and all three will lose. Everybody's putting up something. Now you have a program. Now there's something to watch. It's not Samoa Joe knowing Samoa Joe is going to lose. It's now watching Rollins and Ambrose lose because they're going to lose. Now it's these guys that got to fight it out and fight for the titles, because the winner is, a 3-time champion, and they go off. So if you put them on the Shield like we think they're going to do, this would be the greatest thing, and nobody's ever put titles on the line in a 3-man tag or a 6-man tag.
I actually said this same exact thing on my live video last night, Vito, so great minds think alike, and I think we can all agree on it, that's a great idea that they should do for the Rumble.
Jex, anything that stood out to you on Raw, or was it just complete waste of time?
Well, I mean, to me, it's never a waste of time, but
always learning. I like that.
Yeah, but they always stretch. I shouldn't say always, but they stretch stuff out way too long. Some of the promos are just way too long. I want to see Asuka keep getting built. I love her. I want to see them keep bringing Pete Dunne back. Please bring back Pete Dunne. But
he was on a Raw. He was on an episode of Raw.
Yeah, he was on one episode.
But you want to know what another thing is going, like, you made a good point, right? You're always learning, you're always watching. What did you learn from last night? And I'll give you one specific match. What did you learn about the Braun Strowman and what's his name? Silas?
Elias.
Elias.
Well, to me, Elias is a great character, and they should. And all of a sudden, now he gets thrown to the monster among men, Braun. Like, to me, they buried. Semi-buried him.
I'm going to ask this young lady. You watch it. I want to see if you're on cue. What did Elias lose again during this match?
As far as his credibility?
What did he lose? What did he lose? Name something he lost.
I feel like he lost momentum in a way, because now he's like, he has these expectations of him as being, he can be a giant killer when he's singing, and he's not really like killing anybody, but now you're going to kill Braun Strowman?
Are you talking about an object, Vito?
He lost the use of his guitar.
Oh, well.
No. You go, but his guitar is his gimmick. He lost it against Jordan when he lost the match, and he lost the use of the guitar. He came back. Then he had a great, awesome match where Roman Reigns put him back on the map. Even though he lost, he showed he could play with the big boys. And then you bring him back and you feed him to Strowman so he can not only discredit the guitar shot, discredit him, but you had him annihilated. You just buried the guy. It's just Bray Wyatt syndrome.
Yeah, and I I remember WrestleMania a couple years ago when Bray Wyatt, he had nothing to do. I think he was coming back from that injury I talked about earlier, and he had a spot at WrestleMania with The Rock. Yeah, The Rock beat Eric Rowan and destroyed. I think that's when that happened, right, Aaron? The Rock basically got the better of the Wyatt family. But my point is, Elias, you know the gimmick that he does. Build him strong into WrestleMania season. Don't even book him in a match. Just let him to do a filler between two big matches. Have him in the ring at WrestleMania doing a song. And that's when you pay Dwayne to come out for his WrestleMania appearance and have Dwayne give the rub to Elias. I don't know.
The rock bottom.
That whole doesn't matter if The Rock gets the better of him. That would be huge for Elias's career because you were in a WrestleMania
just
segment.
Like Eric Rowan got the rub from losing to The Rock in 6 seconds.
No, but like the thing is, Wyatt should have, but booking crapped on that.
Hey guys, when they're using the guitar, what's the one thing you're missing when the guitar is hit?
A sound effect.
No.
The guy getting hit with it's not selling? I don't know.
That's 0 for 2. Go ahead. Give me something.
Man, cryptic Vito here.
How come nobody sees the powder coming out of the guitar anymore?
I never really paid attention to that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, you better stop watching TNA and pay attention to WWE, would you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Another powder, Honky Tonk Man, right? Every time you hit Jeff Jarrett.
I never paid attention to that, so there you go. That's
is that for like effect, Vito?
It was for a visual effect that the guitar exploded.
Oh, yeah.
So if you ever
props 101, baby.
So if you ever see a guy with a guitar gimmick, you say, "Hey, listen, did you put powder in your guitar?" What the hell are you talking about? Listen, you're gonna break it tonight, right? You want the people to go ooh.
This is like the magician, that one magician, the masked magician revealing his secrets. Nice.
But guys, you talk about it. If you were gonna explode that guitar on Braun Strowman, I just don't want to see it break. I want to see powder. I want to see an explosion. Yeah. Wouldn't that have been more of an eye opener than this?
Did Jeff Jarrett do that with his guitars?
Yes,
he did.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yep.
Time to go watch clips on YouTube, everybody.
Yep.
That's a very interesting take, Vito, and we appreciate it. That's why we have you here on Virtue's Rage. That's actually going to, that sums it up nicely. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Jexy. Thank you, Vito. And I look forward to doing this on a weekly basis. I'm not exactly sure of the format, but we do love these panels. I know the No DQ Galaxy loves these panel videos. So I appreciate everybody's input. Everybody knows, I'm here to turn No DQ upside down. But at the same time, we need great minds like Vito, Jexy, and you too, Aaron Ref. But no, I appreciate all three of you. Thank you. And I hope the viewers enjoy this. If you want this to continue, everybody, it's all about giving us good feedback. So with that said, time for plugs. Jexy, anything you'd like to plug?
Sure. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jexy Rocks. I also have 2 T-shirts out now. My latest one is DX inspired with the Jexy.
I like that one.
Love it. And then the No DQ, of course, on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Right on. And you can also check out the Virtue's Rage t-shirt over on ProWrestlingTees.com, as well as the No DQ video shirt. And, of course, check out all of Big Vito's stuff. And, Vito, you've been such a great sport with the people on the Facebook group. I've seen you interact with them, and they're having a great time. I mean, they might be trolling you, but, I mean, they're all secretly in their basements. They're marking out for you big time. So
they won't make me champ. Yeah. I have to post all my wrestling pics. Come on, guys. And this Peter Falk who's on there. I'm giving a shout out to Peter Falk. He's getting destroyed. He's a jobber. He does this. He does that. He does.
Well, I am doing a new thing on my column once a month starting in December, Vito. I'm going to go on that forums page, and I do my indie wrestler of the month. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to do No DQ troll of the month. So there you go.
Well, Isaac Rahman is the leader of the TNA Soldiers, and he's like the #1 troll there, the head honcho in the No DQ forums. It's NoDQforums.com for everybody that is not on there yet. You should go check that out. Lots of fun stuff in there. Vito's interacting with the trolls and having a good time. So, Vito, go ahead and give us your plugs.
All right, guys. I don't have any no DQ stuff because I haven't graduated. I'm the new guy on the block, so I got to earn my keep around here. And I don't mind, doing the coffee like this young lady started out. I'm the new coffee guy, in case you didn't know. So we have ProWrestlingTees.com/the Big Vito brand. Guys, we have 4 T-shirts on there. Go pick yourself one out. We also have shirts on collar and elbow. Use the Big Vito code. It's Big Vito. We're going to be in the Signature Series. We have a few shirts on there. All right. And then we have our Twitter account at the Big Vito brand. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the Big Vito brand. Guys, subscribing is free. We have a lot of great videos. Guys, and we have on my website, bigvito.com, we have everybody on there who I'm affiliated with and who I do shows with, just like the Virtue, No DQ guys are on there. If you check out bigvito.com, you'll see a great website. We have 2 jackets for sale. That are my jackets. There's a Nitro jacket that's for sale. There's the original Skull Bond Crush jacket for sale. And on my brand, we don't accept any donations, and there's no need for a GoFundMe. I know everybody knows about what's going on with my wife, but we set up an Amazon list. So if you feel like you want to contribute, there's an Amazon list. Feel free to send something. You get an autographed picture back, and we appreciate everybody who always sends well wishes and understands the situation. Like I said, we don't do this for the money. I won't take money from people, but I know people ask me. So if you want to contribute, you have things on the website. Go there and do your thing. Have a good time with it. Guys, listen to these guys. We got a good panel here. I hope everybody gives great feedback. Let's keep this going strong. A class organization here. These guys are top notch. And if they weren't guys, I wouldn't be here. I enjoy the Troll Patrol. Keep on trolling strong. All right, guys, you give me a title shot soon. I appreciate it. And that's all I have to say for tonight.
Yeah,
and you're going to love this.
Vito.
Yeah, thank you. And you're going to love this closing. So I'm going to do this. If the first person out there that goes to the Pro Wrestling Tees and buys the Big Vito shirt or one of his collar and elbow shirts, and yes, you have to, I don't know if you can get expedite shipping, as soon as you have it in your possession, and you tweet me at NoDQ_Virtue, the first person that tweets me a picture of them, and if you already bought it, then great, you're going to win. I will give you, only one person, a Virtue's Rage No DQ shirt. So remember that. Go buy one of Big Vito's shirts. Put it on, take a picture, tweet me, and I will give you a Virtue's Rage shirt. So, everybody, thank you. Virtue's Rage, we will be back next time. I appreciate it.